time to strap in and get ready. The leaders in NRL SuperCoach are incoming, bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings. You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Mattrix, and Whisperer.
Hello and welcome back to the Inside NRL Show. It's that time of the week where we preview round 11 of NRL SuperCoach. I'm Mattrix. I've got a couple of guys away and I'm joined with Aman. Mate, how are you? Welcome on the show.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You've called in the 18th man. You had no other hope. Too many HIAs and everything. You just thought, we've got to bring this guy in off the bench. So I'm happy to take up the mantle tonight. But no, really keen to talk SuperCoach today. And thanks for having me on.
No, I'm excited. Probably since Magic Round last year, where we caught up and we went together. Actually, we've been in NRL group chats and everything all the time, just talking shit all the time. Me, you, Josh, Braino. So great to finally have you on your show. For those that don't know you, what do you do?
Oh, mate, same as you guys. Just someone put my face up on YouTube, talk a bit about NRL SuperCoach and hope that enough of my takes stick and people think my advice is good. But no, so in all seriousness, do NRL SuperCoach content on YouTube mainly. I guess if I have a niche, it's trying to put up a lot of graphics, try to be a bit more stats focused as well. So been doing it a few years and been having a lot of fun with it. But I'm just the same as you guys, just trying to put out good takes and give good advice and hope that it more or less sticks. And honestly, I sometimes prefer if I give good advice, even if my own ranks don't quite back it up.
Mate, last time I was with you at Magic Round, we'd had a couple of scooey moi mois, and you talked me into some pretty good shit, didn't you?
Yeah, I seem to do my best work after having a couple of Denzel Frothingtons, and I said, look, mate, Parramatta Eels versus Melbourne Storm, Blaze Salongi's been killing it, and we talked you into playing Blaze Salongi. He went over and scored, I think, a double, or he scored a try assist and a try, went over for 100. We were loving life. I had him on my bench, but I was just like, you know what? I'm in Magic Round. I've just talked Mattrix into playing Blaze Salongi. How good is this? So we had a great time. Unfortunately, couldn't make it this year, but thankfully I went last year and it was a lot of fun. And keen hopefully maybe next year or something to repeat that.
No, it was a lot of fun, and I know I enjoy. You see me pop in the comments. I enjoy your content as well, mate. But it is the Insight Show tonight, so subscribe, like, follow, review, everything that really helps the show out. It's the last week to pop into our Unlimited League, 211-518. And, of course, we give away prizes every single week here on the show. We'll go through that in a bit. But on today's show, we're going to go through the hot topics. We're going to go through the best second row forwards and centre wing replacements for a couple of injured guys. A little bit of buy planning chat, specifically around Connor Watson and Nathan Cleary. We're going to go through our buy, hold, and sell. We've got our watch list. We've got the captain's corner. But let's head straight into our squeeze of the week. Every week, that's brought to you by the Standard Squeeze. Of course, it's helping you drink responsibly and conveniently by pouring the perfect shot every time. The 4-in-1s keep your coffees hot and your drinks cold. You can go to standardsqueeze.com and use the code IFS2025 to get 15% off everything in the store. And this week, Merv, coach of Merv's Magic, I don't know how he come up with that name, won with a 1786 in one of the biggest scores I've seen. He had Clark, he had Hughes, he had Munster. Mate, he had Lucas, Tino, Taps, and the C on Pappy. Have you ever seen a week like last week?
The last 2 weeks, mate, it's been outrageous. Like, Magic Round had some huge scores, and then I thought, like, all right, you have these weeks, it's an anomaly, and it was back-to-back massive weeks. Of course, it was a bit different where there was a bit more pain with last week if you didn't captain Pappenhausen or didn't own him. But last 2 weeks have just been outrageous. I'm just preparing myself for another week where we all look around each other and say, hey, mate, did you crack 1,000? 1,150, 1,050 is a good week. It's probably happening in the bye weeks, I'm sure, soon enough. So, don't expect to get these big scoring rounds the norm. I think we've had a couple of outliers the last fortnight.
Yeah, I do think that, but I also think all the cheapies fired this year. So I look at everybody's overall team value, and that seemed to have rise a lot quicker this year. So, I don't expect to see 1800s every week. I do think, maybe we're looking at 13, 1400 as a better moving week, more so than, when you're excited to get an 11 or 1200.
That's true. I mean, I've just had a look. My team value is almost $16 million. I actually don't remember a season where I've had that much team value. So yeah, I think you're right. Like, you're going to be able to stack your team with so many more guns than you could in previous years.
And it's round 11. Like you're talking,
Yeah,
like, you haven't
exactly.
seen your value there. Like, yeah, it's so early. But mate, we've got 21 in the top 100, 186 in the top 1K. So everyone's getting excited in these as they are in yours. But we've got some hot topics to go through, mate. Mate, I'll let you tick it off first. We're going through the best second row forward replacements for Matty Nicholson. Obviously, 580k, injured, out for 10 to 12 weeks. What do you think, mate? What's your first cab off the rank?
Yeah, look, I think, again, it feels a bit like at times you try to be cute with SuperCoach and just want to try to find that pod, trying to find that player that no one else is talking about and pick him up. But I think, the first thought that most people probably would have had with Nicholson going down was Hosking, getting straight back onto that edge. And he is, I think, the most traded in player. And he was the first player I thought of as well, because we know that the Raiders are flying high, that both edge back rows for the Raiders just do generally score quite a lot of their tries. They're not a team that generally relies as much on their centers and outside backs. A lot of it is through the forwards. Hosking's shown us in the past as well. He's got a decent work rate. He's actually got a few attacking stats this year and in other years as well where he's played decent minutes. I know Whisper's put out some good numbers, I think today, on his averages playing over 60, 70 and 80-minute games. They all just look like a player who's at value at 501k, covers 12, covers 13, and a great entry point as well against the Titans. So first cab off the rank, first thought was Hosking. It's boring because he is the most rated player, but I do generally think that he checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, and like Whisperer Josh did that post today of his stats, playing 60 minutes, playing 70 minutes, and playing the 80 minutes, and it was unreal. So at 60 minutes, that's an 18 game sample at second row, 66.7. At 70 minutes, that's 71.7, and at 80 minutes, that's 74.1. So like priced at a 51. It does seem like a no-brainer, hey?
Yeah, almost a no-brainer. I think, one con that people might have is that, we've always been allured by him, but, he does seem to find an injury or two, but it doesn't seem like he's the type who's gotten injuries that have been kind of repeat, like he's not like a turbo and it's always the hamstrings. It's kind of these random different, not skeleton, but like not muscular injuries, a lot of just impact injuries. So I'm not really going to use that as an argument against him. So yeah, he does seem obvious. And I think the fact that you've got him for 12 weeks on an edge spot with a high-flying Raiders team, and if you just look long-term, their draw is just, they don't really verse anyone that tough for a long time. Like I'm looking at it here, like they're a team who've probably got one of the best schedules during the bye period. Titans, Warriors, Roosters, Rabbitohs, bye. Tigers, Knights, Dragons for another bye in round 19. Like he's got good scoring potential in those games as well. So yeah, I don't want to be just saying the obvious, but it all seems to add up for Zach Hosking.
Mate, a couple of the guys I'm looking at, first, this time of the year, you start to look at guys that you think won't play Origin. I don't know. There's a lot of rule changes and stuff that I don't follow, but I can't see a pathway for Eli Katoa to be playing Origin this year. So, or any year. Yeah, 100%. So, I do think that Nicholson did unreal work for us. He's at that 580k, and I'm more looking to upgrade to a gun. Whereas, I think Hosking's a gun, but eventually his minutes are going to go back down again. But Eli Katoa, 660k, averaging 73. I don't see the Sharks as a great matchup this week with a break even of 70, but I also see him being this price or more, or just a touch under at the end of the year. I think you could just get Eli Katoa and just be stoked to have him all year. It's not a pod by any means. He's 25% owned. But Eli Katoa, wheels up, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's probably the best second row forward gun that we have now getting into the Origin period, because your Hudson Youngs, your Anguses, your Isaiah Yo's, etc., they're all going away. The only thing I'd say with Katoa, though, is obviously if you're concerned about buys, then I think Hosking will cover obviously next week. Katoa doesn't play 12 and 15, but he's absolutely going to be someone you'll want in round 13, because Melbourne versus the Tigers, not the Tigers, sorry, the Titans. So really, really good matchup in that week. And that we know that's going to be a tricky week as well, with a lot of players backing up from Origin or on the bye. And you're going to want to get those players who can hurt you the most. And absolutely, Melbourne versus the Titans in round 13 is the team you're probably going to be the most scared of. So I think there's no harm in also waiting. But I think if you are good for round 12 numbers, he's at a really good price. Like, I paid almost 100K more for him earlier in the season. 660K Eli Katoa is a no-brainer as well. You just need to be conscious of your buy numbers as well. But I can't knock the Eli Katoa buy.
Yeah, that's Aaron Clark money. So put that into perspective. So
yeah, oh god, do you own Aaron Clark? I think you do, don't you?
Yeah, I've had him since
god,
day
I'm
dot.
so jealous. And you've held him as well, because I know some people early on were looking at actually selling him a bit earlier, but then you've shown patience that I think a few others haven't, and I think you're seeing the rewards there.
Yeah. Do you have anyone else as a replacement for Nicholson that you're keen on?
Yeah, look, I mean, we spoke about Aaron Clark just then. I do want to just see what his minutes look like with Fisher Harris now back this week. I think that's just the biggest thing, and it's a bit of a cop out just saying, I'll just wait a week. But you do want to make sure that you are paying a fair price for him. And if again he's playing like a 60-minute role with Fisher Harris, then I think you're absolutely looking at someone you can trade in next week. I think the other two that come to mind who play round 12, just kind of thinking about that, is Britton Nikora and it's Kikau. I think Kikau is going to be your more pod play. Covers all three major buy rounds, but doesn't offer great mini buy round coverage. And he's not going to be your kind of high work rate guy. But I think the way that the Bulldogs are playing, it is definitely going into his hands more often than not. It's setting up the attack for him, and especially with Preston out as well. He just becomes their main back rower in attack. He's never been my kind of pick because he's just been too up and down with his work rate, and you just need to probably expect some 30s and 40s, but they could just get offset by 80s, 90s, and 100s. And so I think if you're really liking what the Bulldogs are doing, I think Kikau's a nice little point of difference play that I don't think many people are going to be going to. I think more people are going to be going to Nikora, but I kind of look at the two the same. And I think the Bulldogs have better major buy coverage. So I wouldn't be happy. I would be pretty happy going against Nikora with maybe like a Kikau as well. But Hosking still, I think he outranks those other two for me.
They kind of I always think of getting somebody like Nikora is kind of like getting a winger in my second row, and like, the ups and downs, and like you're always in the wing trying to find somebody with the base of a second rower. So why would you want a second rower with? I suppose it's got the upside of a winger, but find that one a bit hard. But I don't know. I don't want to delve too much into who we think's going to get picked for Origin, but actually don't really see Hamoli Olakau'atu getting picked in Origin too. With all those guys that you said, like we're expecting Hudson Young. Oh, unreal. Like if Hudson Young isn't named, it's going to be, 2 years ago all over again. I'm going to be singing Forever Young on the podcast. But
you're going to have to personally you walk up to Laurie Daly's door, I think, and beat it down, weren't you? If Hudson Young doesn't get named.
I'm excited. I wish Hudson Young actually liked my TikTok that year that I was thinking about it.
He's got you for life now, hasn't he?
yeah. But I don't think Amoli gets picked. I just think with Angus Crichton, Liam Martin, and Hudson Young, I'm just not sure I see two edge guys there. I don't know, like at 635K. Not that Manly has the best coverage, even though I'm looking at like your Ruben Garricks and blokes like that. Look, Hamoli is probably always a get.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he would make my New South Wales forward pack. So again, I'm not Laurie Daly. I'm not picking the team, but I would suspect that he's not there. Again, you can hopefully just wait a week on your trade. If you've got other players to sell, you can park Nicholson for a week, because then you get absolute certainty. And you talked about Manly's coverage. I think, they missed 2 mini bye weeks, round 16 and round 19, but they do cover 13, which is good. I think the biggest thing with Manly, though, is the major bye rounds. They've got really good matchups in each of them, like Parramatta, Titans, and the Rabbitohs. And they'll be a Rabbitohs team without like Latrell and whatnot. So I think they've got really good matchups in those individual weeks. So I think if you're not 100% sure about a back rower, you can absolutely just wait a week and just say, you know what, Olukwatu actually could be my guy next week. So I think he's a completely good get next week. Obviously, if he does play Origin, he's an absolute no-go because he will miss probably too many games to be worth the trade in. But we know Olukwatu on his day can punch out massive scores. He's just was there some talk of a shoulder issue for him last week? I know on the replays it looked like he picked up something, but I haven't really heard much more about it. It could just be a nothing issue.
I haven't heard anything this week, but he was seen clutching at it. So
yeah, that's all right. All good. I think, look, if he's been named to play, you have to assume that he's right to go.
Mate, that's actually an excellent segue, the matchups for Manly, because the best centre wing replacements for Greg Marju was the next topic on. A lot of people have Greg Marju, 660k, been an excellent mid-price guy that's got us basically up to gun status. I don't know if you've owned Marju or not, which is a bit awkward for this topic, considering I didn't ask you. But, mate, the easiest one, if you're like 38% of teams have Ruben Garrick, but the easiest swap is actually making 6k and going to Ruben Garrick, isn't it?
100%. And like just on that ownership stat, so I've actually got the numbers up in front of me. I think this is in the top 5%, 80% owned. So he's a really, really highly owned player by a lot of the higher ranked players. And again, we spoke about how good Manly's matchups are in those individual weeks. I know he's been a bit up and down and he's got a season average of 75, but that does include like that massive 160 game. But again, I just look at those individual matchups in each of those weeks. And I think the Cowboys is actually not a bad week to target this week. So there's a great little tool that I've been putting on my stream the last couple of weeks from, I think it's NRL Stats Insider. And they show the percentage of the areas of the field where teams concede their tries. And so if you look at the Cowboys, for example, the Cowboys concede 54% of tries to their right edge. So that's going to... Oh, have I got that mixed around? Yeah, sorry, I've got that mixed around. Apologies. That would mean Manly's left edge benefits. So that wouldn't be Garrick's side. So I've got that thing reversed. Anyway, I still think Garrick is a good trade-in. So, I'm gonna as a stats guy, you know what? I feel like I've got the license to say, ignore the stats for this one. I still think Garrick's a really good trade-in for this week. Because again, he's
going to
be
last week. Analytics say it's due, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's been a while since he's gone a big score, and also he scored 50 last week. What did he do? So, like, again, he's super solid. He's super safe. We don't have any numbers on what he performs at center without like Cherry Evans and stuff. We've only ever seen him at like the wing or fullback, but I think he's just too quality of a player where I'd be terrified to not own him in those major rounds. So yeah, for me, I think if you don't own Garrick, he probably does stand out to me as the best trade-in for Marzu. Assuming I will caveat that though. If you don't have Dylan Lucas, I probably would rank Dylan Lucas ahead just for me. I think like he's already 83% owned in the top 5%, but Lucas is an absolute weapon. And he covers all the rounds up until round 18. So I think Lucas would still be number one. I think Garrick though, firm second for me.
Yeah, I'm wheels up Dylan Lucas as well. I kind of held back on the replacement for Nicholson because I thought with his dual status, it's a lot easier to swap him over from Marju. Mate, Fletcher Sharp's another one that's brought up. Like Newcastle have unreal coverage through, like they've been god awful, but they have unreal coverage through this period, and they are playing Para this week. So Fletcher Sharp, is he another option?
100%. No, absolutely. So I bought Fletcher Sharp a couple of weeks ago and I managed to get that hat trick of his, which was really good. Mate, I'm just following your footsteps because you've been a Sharp owner, I know, for a few weeks now. So all credit goes to
Since
Mattrix
round
for this.
2, like 3 months. Seriously.
I think you've been unlucky in that he's just not had that big score, and so many people jumped on him that same week because his base power numbers have just been sneaky good all season long. Like his season average is 50, and this is a guy playing at 5'8". He's just a goer. Like I don't know there's no stats around this one. He's just a goer. I think he's an unreal trade, and he probably will play fullback. I suspect if big question if Ponga goes to Origin. Yeah, I don't know what you seem to think about that, but like Sharp at fullback. Work rate might be down, but like major attacking set involvement, I think is going to be up. So for me, Sharp also an amazing trade-in. I still think Garrick would slightly edge him for me though. Just I think Garrick's got the pedigree and got the goal kicking as well. But Sharp is an awesome option.
Well, I was reading something that Sharp might even get the goal kicking. if Walponga's out too, which would I'd wet myself.
Mate, I would love that, but I would have thought Gagai would have been the kicker.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. I don't know what this article was. Was it written by SC Mattrix?
Yeah. It's a good time to bring up our Patreon, where I put things out into the universe that I want to happen. But mate,
move over
probably,
Barry Tui, SC Mattrix for your Knights inside word.
yeah. I used to be a Knights supporter. I got a signed Andrew Johns jersey in me. Signed Andrew Johns, Tamana Tahu, and Michael Hagan in me cupboard there somewhere. So
there you go. I mean, the first two, I don't know how the first two get along anymore, but anyway, we won't talk about that. That's for sure. Oh, sorry,
mate, they were standing together.
That was the first thing that came to my head.
They were standing together in about 2005. So, but what else do we have? We've got maybe a Carraz, but I'm worried about Origin. You've got to pay up a fair bit for Herbie, but Herbie really at 720k, I don't he could touch 800k and then maybe drop to 650 during the year. There's a lot of good options at centre wing.
Yeah, we haven't spoken about Carraz. I think for sure he falls into another camp of it's tough because he's got to break in with 22, but you just don't know if he's going to be an option pick next week. He's been playing amazing. So, and Bulldogs Origin players are terrible coverage. So you would definitely be selling him if you got picked for Origin. So I think for me, you probably just can't go Carraz this week. Herbie and Iro, they kind of feel like the same to me as well, where they're high based out left centers and they've just been scoring so many tries. I am keen on Iro, but I was just thinking about it a bit more this morning, and we know that left center spot for the Sharks has been getting so many tries, but how much can they sustain scoring these tries? And it just feels like the work rate maybe is a little bit down on maybe even say last year. And so I'm wondering if I think one of those two is completely fine, but you probably don't need both. And I don't know if we want to get into spoilers for our buys, but there's a certain fullback that you can pick up in centers as well, who could also be a good little point of difference play as well. But yeah, I think this is why I really like Fletcher Sharp and Garrick. They're at really good prices in the 600s. Those other guys are all kind of pushing that 700k. And when you start getting into that, you can actually start getting at different positions a Joe Tarpany, who's punching out 85s and 90s every week with ease. So from a value point of view as well, I'm not sure if Herbie and Iro also meet the value. I think they're guys who also miss round 13. So in terms of coverage, if you're having difficulties with round 13, you could find yourself being a little bit short in that week. So again, guys like Sharp, Garrick, Dylan Lucas, they all play round 13, which is going to be a very tricky week to navigate. So I think that's why they all are slightly ahead in my books when it comes to a center replacement for Marzu.
So I reckon if you listen to our last 4 minutes, you have got the life of a super coacher. You've got, if they're a little bit cheap, they're due. And you've also got, they can't keep doing this forever. The left center spots, it's super hard to navigate it at sometimes, hey?
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes you just go throw all the stats out and just say, I don't know, I'll listen to the pod every week, but yeah, you just go throw the stats out and say, he's due, or he's the big one's coming, or he can't keep this up. And sometimes that's as simple as it is. Sometimes, myself included, we overthink this game. Just, mate, keep it simple sometimes. The KISS theory, keep it simple, stupid.
No, I love it. We have covered a lot of teams that we're keen on for our buy planning, which I loved covering. Of course, the first major buy and everything. Those guys being, the best replacements for Marju. But there's two teams and probably two players. Probably three if we think that Tedesco is going to get picked, and you're our resident Roosters supporter, so you might have an opinion on that. But what to do with Nathan Cleary and what to do with Connor Watson are probably my biggest questions around the buys. And I fully expect both these guys to get picked for Origin. So if you don't think that, then delete app. But Nathan Cleary first. He's not going to play a lot of games in the next few weeks. That's the problem.
Yeah, so you probably would have seen, and there's been a quote floating around on socials as well from Ivan Cleary that round 16 match against the Warriors in New Zealand. That's the game after State of Origin Game 2 where the Blues play in Perth. That's a 8-hour trip, I think it is, from Perth all the way to New Zealand. And he's reportedly come out and said that Origin players won't back up. So even though that's a game that Cleary's going to have a fixture, I don't think he's actually going to play that. So he's definitely missing 11, 12, 15, 16, and 18. So there's going to be missing a lot of games over that period. And your best replacements could be like a Hines or a Hughes, who are in that same period going to play 7 games. And so I think there is definitely a case to be selling Cleary. The thing I'm kind of battling with is the exact timing of it. I think you kind of do need to go. You can go the next couple of weeks, because I think once you get to round 13, if he backs up against Parramatta and then the Tigers, he looks very enticing for those 2 weeks. Maybe round 15 could be the next exit point, because he would miss 15, 16, come back to 17 against the Dogs, not a great matchup, and then he misses 18. And I just feel like with round 19, it always feels to me like it's the week where a lot of coaches do rest their Origin players, because it's at the end of the entire Origin period. And so it's kind of like, mate, have a week off, get fresh, and get ready for the run home. So I absolutely think there's a good reason to sell Cleary. And sorry for harping on a little bit long, but I do feel it is also unique to which backup half you've got. I think if you already have Nicho Hines, you don't need to sell Cleary, because you'll have Hines for the next 2 weeks as cover. And then round 13, when Hines is on the bye, you probably most likely will get Cleary back in round 13. I suspect he's going to back up, and that's Parramatta. So you don't need to worry about your halfback position then. It just also comes down to whether you think Hughes is a good option, because in round 13, Hughes will have the Titans. So I'm in the position where I don't have Hines. I actually have Hughes, but not Hines. And I think I'm going to want Hines for round 12. So yeah, I think because of that, I think I'll probably sell Cleary, at least in the next 2 weeks. But yeah, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm in a similar situation, and I don't have Nicho either. I know some of the other boys have been playing Nicho in the flex, I suppose, preparing for this. That's lovely. I didn't think that far ahead. But I do think with all my handy jewels, I might look at some of those guys that that we spoke about in the Marju chat, by moving, Dylan Lucas around, by moving Hugo Savala. I never thought that duel would come in handy so much, but yeah, I think I'll do that. I don't think I can hold 760k there for so long. And while I think Nicho's probably the best option, just don't have a lot of faith in him, like the way that, like, he's been good the last couple of weeks, but just the way that even the coaches come out and said, like, it's going to be a different half every week. And I don't need that in my life, especially when there's vice captains and captains. And like, maybe I'm an absolute hypocrite considering I've been holding Ponga when it's like not him any week. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't have any faith in Nicho. But yeah, I do think that I've got to move Cleary on. So
yeah, I think in your position, that's good, where you can kind of make other options. If you don't really believe in Hines, you can still, at least with your duels, get someone else. And I think if you're in a position to do that, like you can go Cleary to if you've got a Metcalf and maybe a Dewey, I don't know, if you can switch Metcalf to halfback, switch Dewey to your 5'8", and then get a gun center, absolutely looks a no-brainer, because we just spoke about so many other good options. I do feel like Hines he looks to be a little bit better in the last few weeks. And I think he's also been close to other big attacking stats. Like I can't remember what game it was. Maybe it was Parramatta, where I think someone dropped the ball over the line. He would have got like an extra try assist. I feel like there's been a couple of instances where he's been close to bigger points, but hasn't quite come off for him. The next 2 weeks aren't great matchups wise, like Melbourne and Roosters, but he covers 12, covers 15. I just think he will be someone who, like, I just generally think he will outscore Cleary in the Origin period, just by virtue of playing more games. So I feel like he will be, a no-nonsense, maybe not a super amazing trade-in, but I think just purely from the guy you're selling, you'll gain on points. So I think it's worth it from that point of view.
Yeah, I'm going Savala up, Lucas from center wing up to second row forward, and I'm going to pick one of those really nice center wings. So yeah, going that way around, mate. The Roosters, Connor Watson, I've been absolutely stoked. The second Harry Grant went down, I think I was like, oh, maybe I can hold him. And I think it was like 20 minutes or 10 minutes before the game, the coverage said that, he's out for 5 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever it was. I've had Connor Watson since then, held through the bye. The Roosters through this period have unreal bye coverage. But when you're selected for New South Wales, it's actually putrid, right?
It is terrible. It is terrible. So I've just got it up in front of me. So if the Origin players for the Roosters, they will miss 12, 14, 15, 17, 18. Like, that's a lot of games. There's a minimum of 5 games that they're going to be missing. So definitely an argument, I think, to sell Watson. The biggest problem is the hooker position itself is mud. I've also had Watson since round 1. He's probably been he's probably been my best round 1 pick, I'd have to say, because I've never had to worry about hooker. He's got a 65 average for the year, and that includes a game where he only played 40 minutes. So we could be looking at realistically a 70 averaging hooker. And that's just got me thinking, I've got Sanders Smith as backup, and I did it last week where I copped an auto emergency. And I think because Roosters are such a good team for bye coverage, you're going to find in those mini bye weeks of round 14 and round 17, you're going to have a lot of players out, and you're probably not going to have that many bad options for an auto emergency. I actually don't think it's a terrible idea just to ride through and with Connor Watson, maybe Sanders Smith if you own the two, and just cop an AE in those weeks and gives you a free crack at a VC loop. Because we know nowadays with the flex as well, if your more auto emergency just comes in, but if it's a lower score, it just drops back out anyway. It doesn't even affect your total score. So I think that's a completely viable strategy. I'm probably holding off a week on Watson just to see what happens. I assume he will get picked for Origin, but just to see what I can do with my trade situations. Because, yeah, a hooker might emerge in the next week. Riley Smith might be your best downgrade this week. But again, apart from the last 2 weeks, he wasn't showing a whole heap in terms of SuperCoach output. So honestly, my gut tells me just keep him for the time being, because I think I'm going to want him on the run home just based on how good he's been going this year.
Yeah, and Sanders Smith's going to be playing a lot of those games Connor Watson misses anyway. And a goal kicking halfback, I'm keen on basically any fucking time. So yeah, look, I'm in the same position with Sandon and Connor Watson, so that's nice to nut that out a bit. But yeah, I do think probably hold at this stage until someone puts a hand up. Like, there's nobody, like, I'm not high on getting McInnes when basically, at least scoring wise, he's been a poor man's Watson anyway. And he's probably like an injury away from being selected in that Origin team anyway. I think like that this is why the flex position comes in handy, to be honest. So
we should say best coefficient of variance, Cam McInnes. The man doesn't score you anything apart from that 1 week where he scored 90. Doesn't score you less than 50. Doesn't score you higher than 60. So the most consistent man you can probably get out there. And we should also, I'm just looking at the chat as well. We should say rephrase Riley Smith to a friend of the show, Riley Smith. I'm just going to step in and whisper his place there, of course. But yeah, I mean, Riley Smith is probably your best downgrade, and he's got a break even of 2, I think. He does play 12 and 13, so it's handy from that point of view. My concern last week, though, was just Joey Lussick. Does he get back into this team on the bench at any point? I don't know. Riley Smith's been playing very well, but I just don't know if I trust Jason Riles yet with his rotations, because we've been messed around so much in the last couple of years with the Eels hookers. I don't know if I wanted to put myself through that again.
Yeah. No, last year was awful, and all as well. So
oh, sorry, you're just breaking up on me a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, good. Let's just head straight into buy, hold, sell. As always, it's brought to you by Ryan from Astute Newstead. If your rates are above 5.9%, you want to buy your first home, you want to renovate your current home, or even just save some money like the rest of us, Ryan's your guy. He does all the heavy lifting for you. He has over 40 lenders on the panel, including all the major banks, to get you the best deal. The best part, it's no obligation. It doesn't cost you a cent. You can book your free consult via the link and description below. Just let him know that Insight sent you. I've got some renos on the horizon with what Ryan's hooked me up with, and I tell you what, you might be seeing something nice behind me, a bit behind this when it comes to the old podcast room. But there's the formalities out of the way, mate. Let's look at the buys.
Targets acquired.
Let's go through your buys first, and I know you've got some of the notes with Whisper and Brainos too, but head off with yours, mate.
Yeah, look, I think we've spoken about a couple already. I'm pretty high on a Hosking or maybe even a Zach, Nico Hines. I think a couple of I'll give you 2 other buys. First one for me is probably a Joe Tarpany. He's just been absolutely killing it. And I think the fact that he versus the Titans this week, I really do like that matchup. in seasons gone past, like he's been having these phases where he kind of goes in and out in terms of bigger minutes. Whereas this season, I'm looking at his minutes. He's only had 2 games below 50. Most of his games have been minutes of 55. And I can only feel like that's going to be even better now when you've got no Nicholson. So, Hosking was playing some middle minutes. I don't think Simi Sasangi is going to play the same minutes in the middle that Hosking was playing. Corey Horsburgh most likely will go out for Origin as well. I just feel like that the minutes of Tarpany is going to be awesome, and he's got great bye coverage, good matchup this week against the Titans. We know he can get attacking stats. He's not cheap. He's 730k, but considering that Herbie Farnworth, Kale Iro, not too dissimilar in price, and we're a little bit more susceptible about their try scoring rate. I really love Tarpany, and he's going to be good cover in your front row if the likes of a Payne Haas or a Terrell May are missing games, or even a Tino as well. So yeah, I think Tarpany for me is probably my first big buy. And yeah, really, really like the option for him in the front row.
No, sounds good, mate. Sorry, she's playing up a little bit.
No, that's all good. If you want, I can get into my next one as well. If you want to try to fix up your face.
No, I think I can't fix this. It'd cost me too much money. With all the plastic surgery to fix that. Mate, mine's Rubes. I alluded to it earlier. He's bottomed out. He's due. They're all valid reasons, but the main one is he's just a decent Origin schedule. He's averaging 65. He's priced at a 67. He's got excellent base. North Queensland are leaky. Like, he should score well this week. Like, if you didn't get on him like myself earlier on in the year, don't be so stubborn to say you've missed the boat. He's actually still priced with the big scores. So I think Ruben Garrick's a great buy.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Absolutely. We spoke about him a lot earlier. I think he's going to be one of those must-own players during your bye weeks.
Nah, pop into your next one, mate. I'm going to duck out. You read Braino's one.
No, all good. Yep. So Braino. So let's read out his buy of the week, which is Herbie Farnworth. I know we probably don't seem the most keen on him, but only owned in about 30% of the top teams before this week. It's a good matchup at home as well. 5-round average of 82. I think the best thing with Farnworth probably is his consistency. Only 2 scores under 60 all year, and I think he's the total highest total point scorer as well at center wing. Braino's actually dug up some good numbers as well versus the Warriors. He's got a good history against them, scoring 133 and 121. So he could be in for a big ton this week as well, although it's a different Warriors team this year, but good history against them. And he only misses 1 major and 1 mini bye week. And one of the other best things as well with him is just the fact that he's British. He's not going to play Origin. There's no risk of that. So, and he's pretty durable. I feel like he's always generally going to be playing for you as long as he's fit. Well, he's generally always fit. So I think he's one of those just guys that you can always rely on, and it's probably no surprise then why he is the highest point scorer in centre wing.
Yeah, I love his accent too. I've actually never noticed AJ Brimson's accent. Apparently he's a bit British. It's come out.
He's got an accent. To be fair, I haven't really heard a lot of Brimson talk, so I couldn't actually tell you how he sounds, but I might have to go watch a video after this.
Sorry, man. She's cutting out like it's playing up like a second-hand lawnmower. So AJ Brimson is apparently moving his allegiance to England because looks like he's not going to get picked for Origin. So maybe AJ Brimson could be a buy when we're looking at some of these rounds in the future. Because if he signs up and says he's in it for England, much like Herbie Farnworth, not gonna be playing Origin. So excited for that too.
Yeah. And also, don't worry about your internet troubles, mate. I've had plenty of years of crap internet, and my microwave was getting its own usernames on my stream. So don't you worry about it at all. I'm all too familiar. And I just want to mention quickly here, the good place. No, this isn't a planned coup by me to take over the show and interfere with Mattrix's internet. My hands are clean in this one. I can tell you that much.
Who's running the microwave? No, it's probably a good time to pop into the hub. Mate, mine's still Kalen Ponga. I'm not trading him out. He's got a low break even. I'll probably VC him this week because, I don't know, I'm a sucker for punishment. We also expect him to be named in Origin, but there's also a world that with his poor form that he's just not selected, which in my mind, if I ever said to you a 500k Kalen Ponga not playing Origin, like any time in the last 5 years, you as a super coach would say that's more of a buy than a sell. It's just a perfect week to hold, cop your licks. It's a good matchup. And look, if you're wrong and he does touch 480k, at least you're wrong and you had a go, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. KP is a firm hold for me, I think, this week. And especially, I know there's a lot of people out there who are maybe looking at potentially buying a Drinky this week, but look, Drinky doesn't cover round 12, so you can just wait maybe until round 13. And you give yourself the option of seeing what's the lineups for Origin. As you said, Ponga might not be playing. I actually kind of hope he does get named because I can't stand to think of the dilemma of if KP is available in round 12, but just wanting to, if he has another low score this week, can I just put myself through the low scores that he's been having the last few weeks? But you just leave yourself the option next week of maybe Turbo's available for you. Maybe it is Teddy. But you just don't need to rush into those kind of trades, I think, this week. And it's a really good matchup. Parramatta historically do concede a lot of points to opposing fullbacks as well. So I think the actual matchup surely it's good on paper. And I think, look, if he is trying to just prove a case for Origin, you'd hope that it turns out to be a big performance for Supercoach as well. So yeah, I think for sure KP is a firm hold for me as well.
What's your hold, mate?
Yeah, mate, I'm gonna steal Brano's hold here. Sorry about that, but we did write the same things without looking at each other. But mine's Tamale. So I know a lot of people are maybe looking at upgrading him. He had a bit of a low score last week, but we spoke about the Raiders already coming up against the Titans this week. I think that's probably the best matchup that you can have, and I think they're playing at home as well. So probably the single-handed best matchup you can get. Really good buy schedule as well. Covers 12, covers 13. I think he doesn't cover 15, but he covers around 18. He just seems like one of those guys, and we've seen it so much this year, like cheapy centers who've been a little bit up and down, but they just punch out this other big score and then keep going up in price or keep generating cash, and just being a solid option for depth. So yeah, for me, Tamale is definitely, I think, in that camp. And I think I wouldn't be selling Tamale this week. Absolutely not.
Yeah, look, I think he's a hold as well. Mate, the next one's a bit all over the shop for me, which will be a segue into our sells as well. So I've got Nathan Cleary as a sell, but Josh had Nathan Cleary as a hold. And I reached out to him. Of course, we're talking Supercoach all the time, and he thinks of him as a hold, like you said, because he's got Nico Hines. And he tried to explain it to me. If you don't have any jewels, who are you going to? Cleary to Fogarty seems a bit fucking gross. As much as I love Fogarty in Game Day Squad, in all the other formats, in NRL Fantasy and everything, because kick meters are a thing, Fogarty just feels kind of gross. He's nearly been the informed halfback, but for Supercoach, he's kind of like Cooper Cronk. Now, Cleary to Brown also feels fucking gross. Cleary to Katoa also feels fucking gross. It's just saying, like, if you've got to go to a halfback, like, there's not a lot to go to without, like, nothing out or doing anything like that. And then maybe you are better to hold Cleary. But as myself, that doesn't have, I suppose, Nico is the main thing. I've got Hughes. I'm gonna massage with all my jewels. I'd like to think that a lot of listeners to the show probably do have Savala. Probably does have a Dylan Lucas, which allows you to get, Nico to, I don't know, Nico to Eli Katoa, Nico to Hamoli Olakuatu, Nico to Iro, if
Cleary,
you're
I think you
interested.
mean,
Cleary,
Cleary,
sorry.
guys, yeah.
yeah, Cleary. I'd love to just trade Nico. I'm so off him this year, but that's coming through in my talk. But yeah, just Cleary to someone. If you've got the jewels, maybe you could trade him out. But otherwise, he's not, I suppose, a firm trade out is probably the point us at Insight and you are trying to put across, right? Where are you? Are you a hold or a sell with Cleary?
Yeah, I think we said it before. I think if you're a Hines owner, I think you can definitely hold, and I can see the reason why is you wouldn't want to just necessarily push a trade into Jerome Hughes. Like he's at a really good price, but he does have the Sharks this week away. It's not an amazing matchup. Misses in round 12, and he has been playing through this bit of a busted shoulder as well. It's not like he's completely healthy, and I think he just benefited last week from a team that just put on 64 points, and he's the halfback. So a few easy passes for some line break assists, try assists, all that good stuff. Like that try assist he got for Munster, literally was just a bit of a joke. He was kind of just bouncing around and just threw an underarm pass to Munster. And so like up until that point, he wasn't really necessarily doing anything amazing. And you can take on a Hughes in round 13 if Cleary plays against Parramatta. If Cleary doesn't play that week, guess what? You can just trade to Hughes that week as well. So I can absolutely understand the hold argument for Hines owners. I think, but yeah, for me, maybe and yourself, who don't own Nico, or you've got the ability to get a gun center, I think it makes sense to sell Cleary. So yeah, it's really, I'd hate to say it, but it is team dependent. But yeah, hopefully that helps out people in terms of, because Cleary is a gun and you're going to want him back eventually. So you've got to be conscious about the number of trades you burn as well.
Yeah, he's the best player in the comp. I know he jumped into the cells, but I'm still giving the fans the stinger. Mate, we've already talked about Marcel. Take it away.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at my list here again. Apologies, Bruno. I think we're on the same wavelengths here, but my one was Adam Dewey. So I think he's just someone that has been a little bit underwhelming, underperforming, and just not really been a great option Supercoach wise. I think the fact that he's retained the goal kicking hasn't really helped him in terms of his output. You've got an option to downgrade him to like a King Tonga this week and free up a lot of cash. That could be your bank to save for next week to get it to Tesco, or to get all these other guns that we've spoken about already tonight. So I think Dewey to like a King Tonga makes complete sense. Even then, you can still use Dewey's duel as well to maybe go and get a center as well. So I think Dewey's someone who, like, buy coverage for the Tigers also isn't great. They don't play round 12. They don't play round 15. And even in between that, it's Cowboys away and Penrith. It's not like it's matchups where you're like, oh, you know what? Actually, I could just keep Dewey and plug and play him. And then even after that, it's Canberra, Manly, Roosters, Warriors. It's a terrible run long term for the Tigers. So I think it's completely opportune time to cut ties with Dewey. I think he's pretty much not even had his time in the sun. He's not been that good. He'd be my sell for sure.
Gee, it's refreshing to have someone that's not a Tigers fan on the show. Just say to Mark, the Tigers are shit. The Tigers are fucking shit. No,
I'll say this. Up until last week, I had some respect for the Tigers. They were doing very well. But after seeing them let in 64 points to the fullback who I did not captain, yeah, you know what? I won't swear, but yeah, F the Tigers after that.
Yeah,
you've lost my respect.
We nearly got him.
You've lost my respect after that performance last week. Unbelievable. You cost me good. You cost me good green arrows, basically.
Yeah, and you know what the worst thing was? They had defense and you're a stats man. The Tigers weren't that bad against. The Tigers weren't that bad against fullbacks. I wrote an article on our Patreon, and I'm like, oh, it's okay, guys. Like the Tigers are actually good defensively against fullbacks. Delete app.
They've completely trolled me. So yeah, you know what? I'm on the same wavelength with you now. And yeah, apologies, Brano and Josh. You're not here to defend yourself. You defend your beloved Tigers, but yeah, sorry about that. I'm gonna have to give them what they're due after what they dished up last week. Officially cannot win the comp.
Yeah, officially done. Look, I've got Nicholson as well. I just 12 weeks. It's the easiest thing in the world. We're gifted a good option by hosking somebody who's been a great second row forward, lost his spot by getting injured, and then Nicholson taking his spot. He was scoring well at that position. Up is Marju. I do think 4 weeks is awkward. Like I held J. It's not the end of the world. I like the Knights for Supercoach options, but the best of ability is availability, and missing out 1, maybe missing out 2 of the buys. I just think Marju is a sell as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine. And it's the position he takes up. Jaden Campbell's a different story where 5'8", again, it's pretty mud. Center wing, you're stacked. You can get so many good quality replacements. I think that's what makes him an easier sell than probably what you face with Campbell. And I regret selling Campbell now after seeing him come back early and punch out, 86, 88 points? Yeah, big regrets
Yep.
with that one. And I bought Dewey
Yep.
in his replacement, so yeah, that's not really worked out.
Oh, yeah.
To be
better
fair, it
luck
did free
now.
up fun.
Yeah.
It did free up money to do other stuff, but I thought Dewey would deliver a little bit better than what he's dished up.
Nah, sometimes it's not what you spend, it's what you save. You're right.
That's it.
Mate, we've got the watch list next.
I'm watching you, Wazowski. Always watching.
Look, he didn't pop up in our buys or anything, but I do think like in King Togia can be still watched. Ilias playing good in
Have we lost the Mattrix? He's frozen. Can't hear him. Gone. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Let's see. Can we get him back?
Yeah, that's.
I am taking over the Insight Fantasy Sports podcast. It is me.
Did you turn the microwave on? Fuck.
No, mate. No, I can tell you that much. Even the microwaves at my house aren't even going on. So I don't know what's going on at yours, but I can 100% with confidence tell the viewers it's not me. But your internet is putting up a similar performance to my my SuperCoach team from last week. To be fair, my team actually did okay last week. I just didn't captain Pappenhausen. I'm so filthy about it. But anyway, we live and we learn.
What do you do? Anyone else on your watch list, mate? Like I'm waiting for a hooker to put their hand up, if that counts. I'm gonna watch Fletcher Hunt this week. I'm kind of excited about Fletcher Hunt. What if he gets named at fullback?
No, I was about to say Fletcher Hunt as well, and this is something I've been actually talking about with you boys not that long ago. But he could actually be just a great downgrade option because if he looks good this week and he keeps a spot for round 12, even if he's on the wing, we know that generally the left wing for the Knights is a decent position to be in. And from reports, obviously Marzu's 4 to 6 weeks, but that could push him into not being available for round 15. So you could get Fletcher Hunt for rounds 12 and round 15. Good draw in between that as well. And then he can just nuff out, or he may have even made some money and you can upgrade him as well. He's probably that kind of perfect downgrade to a potential nuff in 12 who's a warm body in those major buy rounds. But he does also actually play round 13, which helps a lot. He's not necessarily a watch either, but I did miss him in the buys, and I really did want to give him a shout out as well. He's not a watch because you probably do need to jump on him this week with his break even, but it's Connor Tracy. Can't believe I skipped past him in the buys, but yeah, you could wait a week if you're not convinced, but honestly, he's actually looking really good. And the Bulldogs run during Origin is very good as well. Dolphins in round 12 by Parramatta, Rabbitohs by Penrith, Broncos, Cowboys. And again, those teams towards the end, they're going to be affected by Origin. So he's a watch leaning towards a buy, I think, Connor Tracy. And especially if you're a pod hunter out there, and you're not convinced by your Kirazes and stuff because of their Origin risk, mate, Connor Tracy could be golden.
I also think he's a flat track bully, and you just named a bunch of, sorry fans, bad teams. That's what he's playing. In the next coming weeks, he's playing bad teams. He's no chance of getting picked for Origin. He's good without being great. A centre wing eligible. Honestly, one of my favourite draft players this year. Due to the fact that I can just play a fullback at centre wing, and you can only play one fullback in draft. But yeah, look, I can get around that at centre wing. I don't have Garrick, and if I already had Garrick, I think Connor Tracy is the pod way that I would go.
I'm tempted because I already have Garrick and I've got Marzu, so it could be on the cards this week. I just don't. I always play the emotional hedge game of if I brought in this player and they do crap, how am I going to feel about it? Versus if I didn't bring this player in and they do well, how am I going to feel about it? And which situation I'm going to be more annoyed about? I don't quite know yet where I sit with Tracy. I think I'm at the moment in the camp of I'll probably give him a miss just because I have a tendency to just stick to what players have done historically, and I do take a bit of time to adjust to what they're doing now. But he is like 9 points up on the season average from last year, and he's just got really good buy coverage as well. So yeah, he could be a bit of a flyer, but I don't know if I've got the cojones yet. We'll see. Find out. Ask me again at Friday 5:50.
Yeah, and that should probably be noted that there's no Thursday night this week due to the women's Origin game as well. So you do have an extra day to think of everything, and we do get that extra game on Sunday. So if you're not doing anything, just park your ass down and watch a heap of good footy. And I think there's at the very least there's a fair few teams that are very close rather than maybe good football games to watch on the Sunday. Mate, let's head into captains and wrap this one up.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
Mate, hit us off. There's a few early games. There's Newcastle versus Parramatta, Bulldogs versus Sydney on Friday night, Dolphins versus New Zealand, and North Queensland and Manly are the first couple games. What are you looking at for vice captains this week?
Yeah, so I think for vice captain, initial thought was that night's matchup against Parramatta. I think it's again, I don't know if I want to be a sucker for punishment, but VC Ponga could be on the cards again this week. So Parramatta have conceded. Just where are my numbers here? Because I thought I'd bring some stats. Given that's what
I love it.
Generally the only thing I'm good for. So Parramatta have conceded 84. Yeah, because there you go. Parramatta have conceded 84% of their tries on the edges, which is one of the highest. And in particular, their right edge defense is a bit leakier at 44% of their total tries conceded. So that looks really good for your left edge Knights players. So your Sharps, your Lucases, your Pongas. And also, if you look at the average PPM conceded by Parramatta to fullbacks, that would suggest if Ponga plays 80 minutes, 72.8 points. So potentially, on average, they concede about 73 points to opposing fullbacks. Can Ponga put in a good performance and buck the trend that he's been showing the last few weeks? I think he probably can. So I think I don't know how confident people are going to be with him, but he's probably, him and Sharp, I think, are the two VCs I'm looking at the most. If you don't feel confidence in them, I actually really like Teddy as well. I know the matchup looks very tough against the Dogs, and the numbers don't really suggest it either, because the numbers say that he's going to score about 50 points in terms of PPM. But the thing is, if you look at the Bulldogs, they've conceded 59% of their tries on their right edge. That's the Roosters' left edge attack. And I think with Sandersmith back, I think more of the attack is going to go that way. We saw the opposite when Sandersmith had his injury, that Rob Toya, he really benefited. But Teddy, he bobs up on both sides of the field anyway. But I just feel if that left side attack is humming, you've got Billy Smith, you've got Tupou, you've got Sandersmith. I can see Teddy honestly still punching out like 90 to 100 this week, which I'm terrified of because I'm not an owner. But I honestly think if you're not loving Ponga or Sharp, and if you're in Teddy, I think I'd probably be slapping the VC on him. I think he's actually a really, really good and a bit of a pod shout. I don't know many people are going to be going there. They're just going to see the matchup and think, too tough. But Teddy's as solid as they come.
Dogs also let in 32 points to the Broncos, and the Broncos got pumped by the Roosters. So logic suggests that the Bulldogs do leak points to good teams. That's probably something that should be brought up. Like, they're flat track bullies, which I like for Connor Tracy with their lineups coming up. But yeah, they are flat track bullies, and the Roosters are better than the $2.85 average probably suggests.
Yeah, and I think, the other natural one that people are going to be looking at is probably like a Drinkwater for captaincy. But I think he's also, again, if you don't love any of your early options, I think a VC Drinkwater could be the play. And it could be just a week to take a safe option, maybe in a Payne Haas or Terrell May, because I think both of those guys have got favorable matchups when it comes to points conceded to front rowers. So I think Drinkwater needs to have something on him this week if you're an owner. He's playing at home at 5:30. The weather looks good in Townsville as well. We know Manly can concede points, especially on their edges. So yeah, I think Drinky should benefit from that as well. It would be his 4th ton in a row if he was trying to get that. And I think there's not many players who've done 4 tons in a row. I think even Turbo in that crazy season didn't go 4 tons in a row, believe it or not. I think Teddy did it last year though. So again, law of averages would suggest, and logic would suggest that Drinkwater's not getting 100 plus this week. But that's, who do we know? But yeah, what are you thinking for your VCs?
I was going to go Ponga into Drinky, so thanks for talking me out of that.
Sorry, mate. Oh, we've got the Mattrix frozen. So I think I'm going to call out this quote from the chat, which is that about Drinkies, that he's got a feeling that Drinky's going to sucker a lot of people this week and put up a lower number than Mattrix's internet speed, which feels very fitting at this particular moment in time when we've got Mattrix about to launch into his arguments about the VCs. But that's right. You've got me team to talk you through it. But yeah, I'm just going to reiterate my thoughts there on the Sharp Ponga VC. At the moment, leaning VC Drinky, and I think captaincy on one of your front rowers. Pappy could be an option still again this week. If you want more stats as well, the Storm can, the Sharks concede 52% of their tries to their right edge. So that would be the Melbourne Storm left edge attack. We saw how potent that was last week between Pappy, Xavier Coates, and Munster. So I think you could potentially even just still go with the Pappenhausen captain this week. But I think it's a good week to maybe go a bit against him potentially, just because the matchup is away. It's a tough matchup. It's also a night game, 7:30. And I think what we've seen in the last few weeks is you probably want to be targeting your day games for better attacking points. That's why Drinkwater is a really good option. But it's 5:30. I'm thinking maybe VC Drinkwater, and you've got Payne Haas at 2 o'clock on Sunday in Brisbane. Again, would be a day game. So I think you'd be pretty safe with a Payne Haas captaincy. Yeah, Aman's taking all the tough carries. There you go. Payne Haas or Terrell May, your preference. If May finds out he's not been picked at halftime, he might destroy the Bunnies in the second half. So apparently there's some word coming out that they're going to delay the Origin team reveal until at least that game finishes. So I don't think Terrell May is going to know. Yes, he might put out a big performance, but I think matchup-wise, I'm just going to have a quick look at my numbers here. Yeah, Rabbitohs have been the most leaky to front rowers. And so Terrell May, if he plays 73 minutes, he would score about 85. Payne Haas, I've got him down for about 66 based on his minutes and PPM conceded. So numbers suggest Terrell May in this one, but I think we saw a bit more out of Payne Haas. Even last week, he got that line break. And I think he's probably shown more attack stat potential this year. And it's a day game at 2 o'clock on Sunday. I think I'm still leaning Payne Haas. I know the numbers don't quite suggest it, but I think just conditions might be a little bit better. Yeah, Aman Flex coming in clutch. Absolutely. Taking all the tough carries. I've been carrying this shot. Oh, what's going on? Mattrix channeling is in a Ponga. Absolutely. It's just gone missing at the vital moments. Can't believe it. Hopefully that's the whole Queensland team. I feel like I can say that when Mattrix isn't here to defend himself. I can talk more about the New South Wales team. But yeah, I think that's it for captaincy on my end. I'm just going to quickly, while we're waiting for the Mattrix to return, and I can't do anything about this, guys, because I'm not the host of this podcast. I'm the guest. So I'm just going to take some questions out of the chat. Aman says, I'm the captain now. Absolutely. Gotta love that meme. Oh, he's back with a 4X in hand. Mattrix, how you going?
We just got internet in Toowoomba. That's why you get somebody that's somebody that's done podcast before when you come in. But I'm sure you went through all the captain options, right?
Yeah, I kind of just gave them my thoughts, but I think the people still want to hear your thoughts as well. Yeah, I just ran through some numbers and whatnot and just pulled a few comments out of the chat as well. I don't know if you heard this one, but I did particularly like this one, which was about Drinkwater. It was got a feeling that Drinky's going to sucker a lot of people this week and put up a lower number than Mattrix's internet speed.
Yeah, that's true. That's 33 for those of you playing at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I do think if you're not a risk-averse super coacher, then you do just go Payne Haas or Terrell May. I just know, like, with these high scores, I captain Payne Haas in Magic Round Week. And I was so disappointed. And I think I would rather know that I had a big swing and missed. I'd rather have a swing and a miss than not at all. So I think I will be captaining somebody like a Drinkwater. I would probably captain somebody like a Pappy, even though I don't really like the matchup. I really like your shouts of Teddy, quote unquote, he's due. Like I do just think outside of outside of the front row forwards, and yeah, that's the safe option. I'd rather, lived and died by the sword and had a real chop at it. Like, I want to play Jesse Arthurs this week against the Dragons. Like, that's just the way that I play Supercoach, and yeah, I do think that realistically, um, I'm not going to be happy with the 70 or 80 or 70 to 90 that I think Payne Haas and Terrell May is going to bang out.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. And I think that's probably a note I probably need to take for myself because, yeah, I've captained a front row, I think 3 of the last 4 weeks. And it meant, yes, I've had scores that have kept up with the pack, but I haven't been able to take those big leaps to really get ahead. Like I missed out on Pappy last week. And sure, like Payne Haas scored 140 early in the year. He has also got 123 to be fair, but realistically, he's more likely going to get you an 80 to an 85. He's not really going to hurt you. And in comparison, you got Pappy who just went and scored 182. Drinkwater hasn't done it yet, but we know he scored 173 last year against the Tigers. I think, again, I'm probably living with that regret of last week of not going Pappenhausen. And I think you're right. I think you want to be, as well as the front rows are going, you still want to be trying to catch those really big scores. Otherwise, you're probably never going to quite get ahead. We're all in it to win it. I hope anyway. And you're not going to get there, I think, with captaining May or Payne Haas. You need to take these punts. They're not always going to work out for you, but would you rather be ranked 5,000 or 50, or be happy with 2,000 in the middle? I think that's also with the way you think about it as well. So yeah, I think you may have actually talked me back though into going VC one of the nice players and Captain Drinkwater, because that's what I was originally on getting into this week. So yeah, I think you may have talked me back into that now. Yeah,
and it's just like I was thinking about it today. I was talking to my brother, which he's had some good Supercoach finishes, and I work with him, so but he's had some. So yeah, it was just random. Like we ordered sushi today, chat, and he's had some really good Supercoach finishes. But he's gone, well, hey, all the money's in head to head for me, and I'm not really worried about. I'm not super worried about the buys or Origin or anything like that. So it was a completely different discussion. And he's like, I'm fine to captain Payne Haas because I feel like some of these guys, captaining Ponga, like if you captain Ponga every week, you've had a shit year. And like there's going to be people out there captaining Ponga and stuff. So we're going for glory and trying to rise the overall ranks. But if you're predominantly a head-to-head player, I do think this is one of the weeks that you're probably going to be better off captaining Payne Haas and Terrell May. That's probably my caveat. If you're a head-to-head player, Payne Haas, Terrell May is fine. But if you're trying to, work your way up from 10,000th to 5,000th, I do think you've got to go a Drinky. I do think you've got to go a Teddy. I do think you've got to go a Pappy. I do think you've got to be a bit more aggressive with your captains. And your vice captains. Like, I don't know what score you consider at the moment, but I'd need probably a 110 from a vice captain.
I think I'm the same. Yeah, 110. I think Flex has lowered the amount you need to get from your VC. But yeah, I think 110, 115, I think on most weeks probably lock that in. It's just a safety blanket to know you've gotten 220 points from your captain.
No, I'm with you, mate. Mate, is there anything else you want to finish on? Thanks for coming on the show. This has been unreal.
No worries, mate. I think I did a bit more solo podcasting than I thought I had my money was worth for. Not that you're, you have anything to blame for that. It's just the Toowoomba internet. But I thought, every week I'm just podcasting on my lonesome. I'm talking for like an hour and a bit nonstop. And then I thought, you know what, beautiful. Get a chance to talk to Mattrix tonight. And I've still somehow talking to myself. I don't know how it ends up that way. But no, mate, I don't really have much more to talk about, to be honest. I think, I've kind of said everything I want. And but honestly, thanks for having me on so much. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully we can do it. But maybe with the entire crew as well, get all 4, and it will just be mate, I don't know how the chat is going to go, but all 4 of us could be a lot of fun as well in a future episode.
Nice, sounds good. I know we've talked about half commentating a game, like watching a game or something, but it's kind of like in real life watching a game with me where I duck out for 10 minutes because I'm out buying beers. So it's basically like being at Magic Round, right?
Oh mate, if I can repeat Magic Round with every podcast, I will definitely be there. That is for sure.
No, thanks, guys. Appreciate everyone coming on. Thanks to you, Aman. Appreciate you coming on. I know I'm a big fan of your stuff. You can find Aman on Aman Talks NRL SuperCoach. If you've enjoyed him tonight, of course, like and subscribe to his channel too. I know a lot of you watch our podcast and you're not subscribed either. Like and subscribe. If you want a little bit more from us, become a Patreon subscriber with us. The links are in the description below. But good luck for round 11, and you've listened to an Insight Fantasy Sports podcast. Cheerio.